What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, in today's video, we're going over Matic, and I actually want to show you guys something that I'm picking up on the charts. It's a correlation between the price, the RSI, and the MACD that says that there is a good chance that we can see Matic work its way up to possibly even set a new all-time high relatively soon, okay? So let's go ahead and let's talk about it. So what we're seeing on Matic right now has been basically a repetition of what we've seen over the last about 4 to 5 months, okay? We'll see the establishment of some resistance on this key upward sloping level of resistance. We will see the pullback, the trend line, the breakout, and the continuation. As simple as it could possibly get, right? But whenever we start to look at how these things form and where some of these level interactions are, we notice that it is almost a repeating pattern. Now, something that we always talk about in crypto, especially some of your other YouTubers, your Lark Davises, who I absolutely love, by the way, they say crypto history doesn't really repeat, but it tends to rhyme. And so things won't be exactly the same, but very, very similar. And I'm noticing some very strong similarities, okay? So kind of comparing what we're seeing now, let's take a look at what's happening in comparison to what's happened in these last two pushes. So like we said, we established some support on top of this key level of resistance. We would then see a pullback to the downside in the establishment of our green downtrend. Now, throughout that time, we would start to see that the price was working its way back from overbought, quote unquote, overbought territory down to this key level of support at about 38 on the RSI. So what you can see is we were overbought, overbought. Here you go, here you go, here you go. Okay, so you can see that we were above that 70, at or above that 70 level on the RSI. And then throughout this move, we would push back towards the 38.94 level, roughly, on the RSI. Now, once we would hit that 38.94 level on the RSI, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, we would see the establishment of support also on the bottom side of this support channel, in which we can see has been established since realistically July of last year. As soon as we would hit this level, we would hit that 38.94 level on the RSI, as you can see, and that would then lead to the pushback to the top side. So once we would hit that 38.94 level on the RSI and this key level of support, we would use that to break through our downward sloping level of resistance, the downward sloping trend line from the beginning of the fall. From here, and from here, we would start to see this trend line. And again, once we'd hit these key levels of support, boom, we would see the break, we would see the break, we would see the break. Now, what's interesting, extremely interesting, is the fact that every single time that we would see one of these breaks, we would see a movement, up to our 0.5 to 0.382 Fibonacci retracement levels, which is our yellow box here. Okay, so you can see, we would see our yellow box, and at the same time, we would see a breakout, a pullback from this 0.382 to 0.5 level. We would also see an interaction at the 56 on the RSI. Now, keep that number in mind, the 56 on the RSI. Now let's go ahead and let's look at the next move. So we hit this kind of 0.382 to 0.5 level as we found some resistance before pulling back. Now looking at what happened in the next one. Well, we can see here that we saw this move to the top side, boom. We saw this push to the bottom side. And look how we came up to the 0.32 to 0.5 level. We broke out of it for a split second, immediately resorted back into it. And this is where our main resistance was. Look how we ran into resistance here and we ran into resistance here. And in the same time frame that we broke out and ran into resistance at this level, we came up on our RSI to right around 56. We peaked above it for a second, but came right back down under it and found some resistance at it 2 times. Now let's compare both of these moves to what we're seeing exactly right now, which is interesting. So what we can see is we had our swing high, we had our swing low. We came up, we broke out, we ran into resistance at the 0.382 to 0.5 and found some resistance on the RSI, not quite at 56, but right around 55. So it's very interesting to see that what we're seeing on the charts at the moment from Matic has been almost a replication of what we've seen not only once back here, but twice, okay? So what does this really mean for us? Well, what this means for us is that I'm actually going to be doing a little bit of buying. Now, realistically speaking, at any given point, this can change. At any given point, the market can kind of go into some type of downtrend, which gets really ugly. Now, we also have to consider the fact that at the moment we are in an ascending wedge, a recovery ascending wedge, which has a typical breakout rate to the downside eventually. These are usually going to have short-term bearish resolutions. Whether that looks like us putting in some type of, cup and handle pattern or something of that nature, who knows? But considering the fact that this is going to be typically bearishly resolved, meaning eventually I think even if we bounce to a new all-time high, we will eventually break to the downside for the time being. That means that I'm going to actually go ahead and do a little bit of buying, but I'm actually going to be setting a stop loss right around $1.96, right under it. Now, what I'm going to do is in the event in which we do come down to see this key level of support hold, it completely invalidates what we've been seeing in the past as to happen again, and likelihood is we are going into something more of a long-term continuation to the downside, maybe a couple weeks, maybe a couple months. And so what that means for me is that I am under the belief at this point that we are going to see Matic chasing some of these previous highs, and even if we do roll back to the bottom side support, similar to what we saw back here and back here, that we can use that establishment to see that break to the upside. So this is a little bit more of a speculative play. It's kind of going based off of chart history, but what it tells us is that within the realm of possibilities, we've seen this play out 2 times recently. And considering the fact that 2 times recently, this exact setup has allowed us to see moves to the upside, I'm going to take on the bet, realistically, it's what it is, the gamble, that we will see it happen again. Knowing though, that if we see the break, a loss of about 16 to 15%, that if we do see that happen and a move to the downside happens, that this is completely invalidated and this theory, this little bullish thesis is wrong, okay? So overall, I am going to be looking for a move back up towards this $3 level, which does currently look like possible gains of up to, 30+%. And so I'm totally okay with taking on the, this shorter, it's not going to be a huge trade, kind of a medium to small trade here, looking for that buy up to, $3.05, while also acknowledging the potential risk of this bearish resolution happening now, which does, of course, lead us to see about a 15% loss, okay? So overall, that's my game plan. That's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I did this exact thing back here and back here without having any chart history based off of it, and they did work out in our favor. These were our 2 most recent take profit levels, and so personally speaking, I am going to go in on this one. I'm going to look for a purchase price anywhere under, realistically, about $2.30 is cool with me, and so we're about $2.29, $2.30. Again, even if this price does start to fall to the downside, I'm probably going to do a little bit of accumulation at some of these levels as long as we are above this key level of support. Now, if we do come back down, lose this upward sloping level of support, then I may start to consider tapering out a bit because it seems like the trade may be getting invalidated. But at the moment, that is the game plan. That's what I'm looking to do. Maybe get in towards $2.29 to $2.25 and looking for that move back up towards this $3.05 to $3.12 area. So overall, guys, please do remember, I am not in any way a financial advisor nor an expert or a fortune teller. I'm simply someone who studies history, studies charts patterns, and studies the realm of possibilities. And the realm of possibilities does say that based off of what we have seen previously, there's definitely the potential for Matic to go up to set this new all-time high relatively soon. And I, of course, want to try to take advantage of that as best that I can. So with that being said, I will update you guys as this trade does play out. I will be posting even more updates over in the Patreon. So if you do want access to see exactly when I'm buying and exactly what I'm buying, definitely go check that out, as that is exactly where you can find it. And for those of you who do want to know exactly where I'm purchasing Matic and how I'm purchasing Matic, I have it pulled up on my phone here. It's really easy. My channel is sponsored by the 3rd biggest crypto exchange in the world right now, being FTX, which you guys know I'm ecstatic about, but it's super easy. You can just go into your FTX app. You can simply press buy. You're going to enter in the amount that you want to do, press review, swipe it to submit it. And then as you do that, you can also go in on one of their tracking applications and you can simply go in, press your arrow, add a coin, press Matic, and then as you do that as well, it allows you to go into add-on transactions and you can go ahead and track exactly how this trade is performing. It's probably the easiest app that I've ever used before, especially when it comes to being able to just be very aware of what's going on in my portfolio, as well as the fact that they have so many users, over 6 million users. They have people all over the world, and there's so many other rewards and perks that do come with using them. So I definitely do recommend for anyone looking to get into crypto or looking looking to make purchases to at least use the referral link down below and go check out FTX, as I think that they are probably the best exchange out right now, and I think they have some of the most potential for rewards and things of that nature. But with that being said, that is realistically going to be about it for today's video. Of course, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, of course, you can always let me know simply by smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you are new. And I will see you all next time. Peace.